Hello chess lovers, let's have a quick look at a game played by chess prodigy Jeffery Xiong, and his opponent is Wesley, who is playing with the black pieces. The game was played in 2017 at US Championship in round 9. Jeffery started with d4 and black responded with knight f6, c4 e6, g3 d5, bishop g2, bishop e7, knight f3. This is the Catalan opening. Castling, d takes c4, queen c2, a6, a4 preventing b5 move, bishop d7 developing the bishop, rook d1, bishop c6 bringing the bishop onto the long diagonal, knight c3, bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, knight c6, bishop takes c6. White is giving up its white square bishop, which is protecting the king and the white squares, in the cost of doubling black's pawns and also creating these weak pawn islands. Here comes bishop g5, rook b8, e3, c5, d takes c5, queen e8, the queen was under attack, rook d4, knight d7. Well, if you try a move like bishop takes c5, then this is winning for white. White has a very strong response, rook h4, and the threat is taking on f6 and then checkmating on h7. Well, if you play a move like h6, by the way, in this position the best move is giving up the knight, although this is of course also losing for black. A move like h6, then here comes bishop takes f6, g takes f6, knight e4, and if bishop e7, then can you find the best move for white? White is simply taking on f6, and if bishop takes f6, then rook takes h6, and there is a checkmate in the next move. So that's why we don't see this bishop c5 move in this position. Wesley played knight d7, here comes bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, c6, knight e5, queen e4, attacking the knight, queen c5, knight d5, and knight d3. Well, taking is not good on d5 because after queen takes e5, black has problems with defending the pawn on d5. And if you try a move like rook takes b2, this is actually a very bad move. Can you find the winning move in this position? White has a strong response, rook g4, both attacking the rook on b2 and also threatening checkmate on g7. That's why in this position we don't see this e takes d5 move. Instead we see knight d3 by Wesley, knight takes c7, knight takes f2, and a bad move by white, king takes f2. It turns out that after this move, white's position just collapses. The best move is knight takes a6. If queen g5, then queen f3, rook takes b2, c7, and both players have a very strong passed pawns, and this is going to be a very dynamic and sharp game. But in this position instead we see king takes f2, which allows rook takes b2 with a check, king f1, here comes queen h5, threatening queen e2 check and then checkmate into queen g4, queen takes h2, queen f3. The threat was queen h1 checkmate, queen f3 defending the h1 square, and here comes c3, and it turns out that there is no way to stop this pawn. White tried with rook c1, but here comes e5, rook h4, queen d2, rook d1, paying no attention that the queen is hanging on d2. Black played rook d8, knight d5. Well, if you take on d2, then here comes rook takes d2, and there are so many threats. For example, black is threatening right now rook b1 check and then checkmate on d1, and just no way to stop these rooks and this pawn. That's why we see this knight d5 move, simply rook takes d5, rook d4, rook takes d4, e takes d4, and the last punch by Wesley. So can you find that move? He just simply took on d1 and white resigned. Well, if you take on d1, then here comes c2 and no way to stop this pawn. The threat is rook b1 and then c1 queen. Your comments please, and thanks for watching. Good luck.